Alright then YouTube, welcome to my channel. This is the very first video on this channel, the first video, and I really tried coming up with a proper introduction, one of those fire intros, for the first video, but I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, welcome to the channel. Do subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you like this reaction. Today I'm gonna be reacting to 7 times athletes got caught cheating on live television. I really don't know why some other people consider cheating, but I'm guessing a lot of people do, and these were the ones who were caught on live television. So there's a lot going on here. But without any waste of time, let's get into it. Let's do this.
Of the millennium.
In many ways, athletes are heroes in their own right. The best of them inspire young kids and teach them the value of hard work, dedication, leadership, and camaraderie. However, as with any other profession, there are a few bad apples that have threatened to ruin the good name of sports. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the most notorious athletes and sporting teams who got caught or admitted to cheating their way to the podium. You do not want to miss number one, so make sure you stick around. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We'll be giving away either an iPhone X Max, a new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First, we start with Antonio Margarito and his knuckle of Paris. There are many ways to knock your opponents out of the boxing ring. You have uppercuts, combination swings, and speedy straights, but one thing you don't do is load your gloves with plaster of Paris to harden your blows. Apparently, that's exactly what Antonio Margarito has been doing for most of his career until Shane Mosley's trainer caught him in the act of putting plaster of Paris powder on his wraps right before the 2009 Mosley-Margarito bout. This is bad news for Mosley, since the plaster hardens when it gets wet, and surely Margarito would be sweating more and more during their match. Luckily, Mosley's trainer called his camp out for it, and so they had to redo his wraps, and then what do you know, Margarito ended up getting clobbered by Mosley in the historic fight.
It's a big left hook. Why not stop it now? And there's the right down from the corner.
Imagine if he was never caught and he continued doing this. I mean, let's be thankful to the coaches for actually, having identified the substance in his hands. But it's kind of genius though, like the fact that his team have the know-how of this substance that hardens when it gets wet and then assures them a victory. That's kind of smart and dumb at the same time. Like, why would you cheat? Like, why would you consider cheating live, also live on television as well? Like, I think if you were to cheat, I mean, do it somewhere where people can't record, can't have a record of you cheating. But this is gonna last forever. Imagine.
Makes you wonder if Margarito did the same trick on a previous match against Miguel Cotto, who ended up with a pretty messed up face after losing to Antonio. Next is Thierry Henry and Le Hand of God. It's been 11 long years since Henry...
The Hand of God? I thought the Hand of God was made famous by Maradona.
His handball.
When was it? I keep forgetting the date, but I thought it was made famous by Maradona.
Paris denied Ireland a ticket to the 2010 World Cup Finals, but anyone who respects the game of football is still reeling from this painful memory. Official record books will show that in November 2009, France defeated Ireland 2-1 to qualify for the finals, but what happened around the 103rd minute is something the record books will never reveal. France got itself a penalty chance just inside Ireland's half. Malata flouted a Hail Mary into the danger area, but it bounced through to Henry off a 6-yard box. But Henry stuck out his left hand at the last minute to interfere with the ball, running out of play. As a result, the ball dropped at his feet, giving him a golden opportunity to poke it back across the goal line. Incredibly, the goal was countered, and there was no whistle blown against France, much to the rage of the Irish crowd. The handball was so obvious and so blatant that the French team admitted that even they felt bad for their opponents.
There was a cheat. Henry's a cheat.
They couldn't blame Ireland. Yeah, it was a bad decision. That was a terrible decision.
Okay, so while we're on the topic of disgustingly blatant handballs that practically everyone saw except the referee, we have Diego Maradona next. The 1986 playoff game between England and Argentina has become an iconic match because of one moment that might still be giving poor old Steve Hodge nightmares to this day. So Hodge sliced a high loop ball into the middle of his own area, and it fell just in front of the penalty area. It was met by Maradona, who quote-unquote inadvertently pumped the ball into the empty net using his left fist. The whole thing was made even more distasteful when Maradona had the gall to race off towards the corner flag to celebrate when the foul wasn't called. It's still considered the worst mistake referee Ali Ben Nasser ever made in his professional refereeing career.
Shocked and furious, and so is Peter Reid, and the England manager Bobby Robson can't believe it.
Next is Marion Jones.
But this cheating tactics or whatever, like the hand of God, I think we can only see it now, like more clearly. I think they only got away with it because there was no VAR at the time. I mean, now, have you ever seen a footballer trying to cheat? No. Next. Nothing. Because of VAR. I think had Maradona done that at present times, or the other footballer, had they done that in present times, they would have been called out and then the goal would have been cancelled.
His fall from grace. In the early 2000s, Joan became a much-needed icon for women of color athletes after she bagged 3 gold and 2 bronze medals at the Sydney Olympics. But all that changed in a heartbeat when she admitted to taking steroids on the eve of the Games. Marion Jones, sprinting legend and long jump superstar, had sadly built her portfolio around lies and performance enhancement. But even worse than that, she pleaded guilty before a New York court for lying about taking anything.
And I truly hope that people will learn from my mistakes.
Nesta Carter is next on the list, proving there is something more appalling than cheating, and that's cheating at the expense of your honest-to-goodness, hardworking teammates. The Jamaican sprinting team floored everyone at the 2008 Games in Beijing, bagging goals left and right. Usain Bolt also earned a rare triple-triple after the Games, at least until he had to return 2 of his medals, because Carter failed to test in a groundbreaking reveal that proved how doping is still very much a huge problem among professional athletes. Samples taken from Nesta Carter proved that he had taken a banned stimulant prior to the Games, so Bolt and the rest of his team went down with him.
Jamaican sprinter Nesta Carter has reportedly tested positive for a banned stimulant, methylhexanamine.
Of course, losing 2 medals seems like a laughable thing compared to what cyclist Lance Armstrong had to do. Next is when Lance Armstrong had to give up 7 Tour de France titles between 1999 and 2005. Sadly, he's not even apologetic about it. After his forced retirement in 2012, Lance said he simply did what he had to do to win. In an interview with NBC Sports, he said he knew it wasn't legal, but that he wouldn't change the thing regardless if his bad decisions lost him a bunch of money and reduced him to 0 from being a hero. He justified his acts by basically saying, well, everyone was doing it.
I wouldn't change a thing. We did what we had to do to win, and it wasn't legal.
He said joining a professional cycling match without taking performance enhancement would be like showing up to a gunfight with nothing but a knife. Okay then, Lance, if you say so. Next is Sammy.
But I feel like Lance Armstrong is a different case from the others that I have seen already. This is because he acknowledges that he has made a mistake, but he also discloses the knowledge that a lot of cyclists were doing it. And I feel like him having said this should have prompted investigator to further investigate and see whether there were other cyclists who were doing the same thing as he was. But rather than people doing that, they started blaming him, and he's on one of these compilations. I don't think he was really that bad. There are a lot of bad people, like those ones who took banned substances to, improve and to win races. But he discloses information, and he's saying that he was not the only one who was doing it. I mean, bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean, that's seeks to tell you something about cycling as a whole.
Sosa and his corked bat. Baseball is a pretty straight-cut game with tight rules that don't allow much opportunity for cheating. While Chicago Cub Sammy Sosa had been under suspicion for using performance-enhancing substances for years, he never went down for it, and yet he got an 8-game suspension back in 2003 after he was caught using a corked bat in a professional match. A corked bat is made by hollowing out a wooden bat and filling it with cork or any other light material that makes it lighter and thus easier to swing.
I mean, that's kind of smart if you think about it. The fact that they know that corking a bat makes it lighter and then it makes it hit the ball to, go on further. I don't know a lot about baseball, to be honest. I've seen it only in movies and stuff like that. I don't know a lot, but it's kind of smart. It is smart. Genius, actually. I mean, they know how to know that a cocked bat can hit, the ball, and then that's genius. That's kind of genius. I mean, yeah, I have to give him for that, but cheating is wrong, guys.
In his defense, Sosa said he had been using a corked bat strictly for practice, but accidentally grabbed it for a league game.
I like their explanations, how they get caught and then they try to make it look like they're not in fault. Like, no. Oh, I was only practicing with it. What were you practicing it with it in the first place? What were you using it in the first place? There's no way.
He wasn't able to show that none of his other bats had been modified in that way.
Checking out that piece of lumber. They found something in there.
The fans here are booing, but they want to make it.
Michael Pineda and his pine tar is next. New York Yankees pitcher Michael Pineda was ejected from a match after officials spotted pine tar on his neck, which had been unknowingly transferred onto the baseball. For years, pine tar had been used to treat a range of skin issues.
I mean, that's super obvious. You can even see it right here. Even on his hand, it's super obvious. I mean, this was not smart.
With soothing and antiseptic properties. Michael may have only used it to soothe any wind burns he may have gotten from a chilly game, but he should have known better. Pine tar is a formidable substance on the baseball field, since it is said to change the way a baseball moves and the way bats stick to the hands of batters.
Something's there on his neck and they checked it out. Why would you do that? You know it's against the rules.
Let's see his reason.
Tom Brady is next with his deflated footballs. The NFL suspended New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady over what has been called the deflate scandal of 2015. Investigations yielded that someone from the team likely deflated a set of game balls used at the AFC Championship. The thing is, each team uses its own set of balls, so only the Patriots were able to take advantage of their underinflated balls, which are generally easier to catch and throw. Brady tried to appeal that he knew nothing about the whole scheme, but to no avail.
I don't know what happened between the time that I touched it and, really till Monday morning, I had no idea what happened with it.
Oh, come on, Brady. You know something. You know something. Just tell the truth. The truth will set you free. Just be honest. Just be honest.
That's not the only scandal that has plagued the New England Patriots. Because next, we have the same team getting caught filming their opponents' defensive signals. The notorious sequence of events has been dubbed Spygate. The team apparently had a detailed, efficient system for figuring out their opponents' plays. First, they hire someone to videotape signals used by other teams in their other games. Then, bench players had to memorize the signals, so they will be able to identify them in Patriot games.
Spygate scandal was far more extensive than originally reported.
Seems like a lot of work compared to just, doing their best. Next, we had a similar sign.
Practicing, actually training for the actual game, huh? And then you go pay a guy to record your opponents, taking more time. The time that you could have used to actually practice and actually by chance win the game.
Stealing scandal that was uncovered in 2017 by the Houston Astros. Apparently, they like a lot of work compared to just, doing their best.
Obviously.
Next, we had a similar sign-stealing scandal that was uncovered in 2017 by the Houston Astros. Apparently, they had a way better and more modern way of cheating compared to the Patriots. So instead of memorizing signs, the Astros used cameras positioned in center field to steal signs right in the middle of games.
It's wrong.
Team personnel watched feeds in a hallway and would relay what was coming to the hitter by sending coded messages by banging on a garbage can. That's some secret ops stuff.
It doesn't give up that many hits. You got to take every one.
Darwin.
Yet another athlete who really should have done his best was Ben Johnson, who kicks.
There are a lot of runners in this list. A lot.
Off the next moment of notorious cheating incidents in professional sports. The Canadian sprinter was stripped of his Olympic 100-meter gold medal after he tested positive for enhancements. He trooped back home, disgraced after previously setting a new world record of 9.79 seconds at the Seoul Olympics.
Wow.
The car gets him now. It's Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson does it again. Unbelievable. 9.79.
In effect, the gold medal was re-awarded to American Carl Lewis, while Britain took the silver and the bronze going to another American. Now, speaking of some disappointment and disgrace, we have at the next moment from...
I know this one. She was running a marathon, but instead of running the whole or what they call it, the whole track or the whole way, she used the subway, and she actually got the M record time. She actually beat the record or something like that. And they actually caught her after they reviewed the tapes from the different parts of the race, and they found that she didn't appear in most of the tapes that they were reviewing.
Rosie Ruiz and her subway trip. Now, there's nothing wrong and illegal about taking the subway, right? Well, unless you're in the middle of a marathon, that is. In 1980, Rosie Ruiz finished way ahead of everyone else in the women's division of the Boston Marathon. She made history by having clinched the third fastest marathon time in history for a woman. However, the wide discrepancy between her Boston Marathon time and her previous races raised so much suspicion that officials felt compelled to double-check if she had run the entire course. Lo and behold, Ruiz did not appear in any of the race photos until the very end. She had apparently just appeared in the last mile after taking the subway for most of the route. Because of this, she was stripped of her medal, laurel wreath, and silver bowl after the mess was exposed.
I don't know why she thought she could beat it, but then she ended up spending the rest of her life running away from it.
Never able to escape the unfortunate legacy she left in Boston.
This next moment proved that Spain is desperate enough to cheat at the Paralympics. This scandal broke out in November 2000 when a member of Spain's gold medal-winning basketball team at the Sydney Paralympics admitted he and other athletes fielded in other sporting events were perfectly healthy.
We were encouraged to pretend to be stupid. It was a false medal. It was a false national anthem. Nobody really talked about it afterwards.
The Spanish Federation of Mentally Handicapped Sports earlier claimed that they were mentally deficient despite having no physical defects. Turns out they were completely healthy and were fielded to fight people with disabilities just to win the short gold. Wow, I mean, how low can you go? Well, apparently not as low as those in...
Wow.
Involved in the 2009 Bloodgate scandal were willing to go. This moment of cheating involves the English Harlequins and their Heineken Cup playoffs against Ireland's Leinster. With the Irish side winning in crunch time, the Harlequins wanted to bring back Nick Evans, who they had already substituted earlier on. Lacking any more legal moves, team officials asked winger Tom Williams to pop a blood capsule in his mouth so that Evans will be allowed to replace him.
Well, that's obvious blood.
Who punched Tom Williams?
He's winking.
To pop a blood capsule in his mouth so that Evans will be allowed to replace him.
Well, that's obvious blood.
Who punched Tom Williams in the mouth? Tom Williams?
The worst part is that Leinster still clobbered the Harlequins despite this cheap attempt at gaining a competitive edge. It's crazy to think about what some people are willing to do for money, isn't it? Anyway, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.
And for real, it's crazy to see what people are doing out there, and hopefully the ones that are continuing to cheat get caught. Guys, I really hope that you liked my reaction to the video. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and don't forget that little bell icon so that you can be notified every time I drop a new video. I will see you on the next one.